really used this cookbook. Ugh, I just didn't think it worked. I would avoid those recipes. You are nourishing yourself with amazing nutrients and amazing ingredients. They leave you so full and so satisfied and with so much energy. To my channel. So today I am so excited, and I hope you are too, because I'm going to be eating like a deliciously Ella for the whole day and reviewing her 3 cookbooks. And at the end of today's video, I'll be revealing which one I think is the best and why, so make sure you stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed today's video, I mean it so much if you give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. There really is something for everyone here on this channel, so I really hope you decide to join the family and stick around. So if you don't know who Ella Mills is or who Deliciously Ella is, then I don't know what you've been doing. She is a vegan, plant-based author and blogger, and honestly it's such an inspiration of mine. I love her books, I love her app, I love her blog, I listen to her podcast, so you could say I'm a bit of a fan of hers, but that is not going to stop me being brutally honest about her cookbooks and everything throughout this video and give you the positives, but also there are still some negatives and I will be telling all. Now, she not only has an amazing ethos, but she actually managed to cure her own chronic illness just with the power of her diet and swapping to a plant-based whole foods diet. So for me, I think she truly shows the importance of looking after your body and nourishing yourself with food. And even if you're not vegan or don't eat vegetarian, then I still think it's so important to try and include some plant-based meals into your diet, and her recipe books and ideas are just perfect for this. I am actually starving and I haven't had breakfast yet, so we need to go and have breakfast. And what I'm going to be doing is eating breakfast, lunch and dinner out of all 3 of her recipe books. So you're going to see a recipe from each different book. And the first one that I've chosen is from Deliciously Ella with Friends. I'm going to do a proper review of the books later, but just a sneak peek, I absolutely adore this book. So this is what I've decided on today, and this is this scrambled tofu recipe. Now I think this looks so good and I'm really excited because I literally love scrambled egg. That is the hardest part of going vegan for me, is egg. I just used to love like scrambled eggs on toast. So let's see how it turns out. This actually makes 2 portions, which is perfect. It means you have leftovers for the next day, and you're just going to take half a red pepper and cut it into bite-sized pieces. Then you're going to take 3 spring onions and cut them into little small pieces, and take 10 grams of chives and cut them again into tiny little pieces. Then you're just going to add 2 teaspoons of olive oil to a pan and heat that up at medium heat. Then throw in all of your vegetables, half a tablespoon of olive oil and some salt and pepper, and mix it well. And add half a tablespoon of tamari, the juice of half a lemon, and then scramble in 200 grams of tofu, and then add 1 teaspoon of turmeric, and there you go. Just make sure all of the tofu is scrambled up really well, give everything a good old mix and leave for 5 minutes. And then I just served mine with some gluten-free toast, but use whatever toast you want. I'm back from breakfast and I'm now so full because this recipe was amazing. That is the only way I can explain it. It was super simple, super filling, and literally tastes exactly like scrambled egg. If any of you want to try a vegan version of scrambled egg, then this is the recipe to try, and I really couldn't recommend it more. I just thought I would do a quick review of all of the books and what you can expect from any single one if you go out, and what the pros and cons and my top tips for using these books are. So let's start with the positives, because there are a lot. My first big one is that everything is whole foods. You're not going to find anything with refined sugars or deeply fried, and you can really feel good about what you're putting in your body, and every single recipe is going to leave you feeling amazing, light, full, satisfied, and you're not going to get that horrible cloggy feeling when you put something that's not good for your body. You can really feel good about all of the foods, knowing you are nourishing yourself with amazing nutrients and amazing ingredients. I also love how there is such a fab combination of big batch cooking, small batch cooking, which means you can either just cook something for 1 meal, or you can do a batch of 6 and you can freeze it or meal prep it. There really are a good combination of all types of recipes in the books, and there's also an amazing combination of fast meals and also those longer ones that you want to spend longer on at the weekend. They are also so simple to follow along. Sometimes with cooking I can get really confused following instructions because I'm dyslexic, but also I'm a bit silly around the edges. I do really silly stuff, but she breaks it all down so easily and it tells you what to do at every stage, and in my opinion the instructions are so simple and anybody, even if you're not a good cook, could follow this cookbook. Every recipe has a picture with it and you can see exactly what you are cooking, which for someone like me is so important. I love to be able to see what I'm cooking, and if it doesn't have a picture then we're not going to be cooking from it. I find it so annoying in other cookbooks where they have this amazing recipe but it hasn't got a picture, so I can't see what it's going to look like, so I'm not going to risk cooking it. Whereas every single picture in these cookbooks is so aesthetically pleasing and it makes the food look amazing and it makes you want to cook it. And finally is flavour. I never feel ashamed to show my family it, and most of the time my family love the recipes and love the flavour and actually prefer it to their own food, because I'm the only vegan in my house, so I feel like I need to set my standards high and make all vegan food look amazing. And honestly, any one of these recipes always impresses people, and whether they are vegan, vegetarian or normal meat eaters, then it never disappoints on flavour and you're never left feeling like, oh, I just ate plants. And you can still tell it's so good for you, but it just tastes amazing at the same time. Now, of course, as with everything, there are some cons to the cookbook. Nobody is perfect and nobody can be a straight 10 out of 10. In my opinion, there are always ways to improve. But firstly, I find it really annoying that there is a lot of oil. She uses a lot of olive oil and a lot of coconut oil, and I tend to find if it's 4 tablespoons, I change it to 3 tablespoons. I just always take a little bit of oil out, and also I give a warning about any recipe with coconut oil. My family and a lot of non-vegan people I've found hate recipes that use coconut oil because it's quite a strong taste. I would avoid those recipes or just minimise on the coconut oil if you can. I don't like to cook with too much oil anyway, whereas I feel like she goes for the whole Mediterranean diet, lots of olive oil, which is very good for you, but I just personally don't like super oily food. Secondly, some of the ingredients can be challenging to find. For instance, like buckwheat flour, or if you've never had tamari before, tamari is a gluten-free soy sauce, which you can sometimes get from supermarkets, but you might not be able to get them, and if you are not vegan or vegetarian, then you almost definitely haven't got them just in your cupboard, so you do need to go out and buy them. Saying that, she does recycle a lot of the ingredients, so you'll find buckwheat flour is repeated a lot. She uses a lot of tamari, a lot of tahini. If you go out and buy it once, the likelihood is it's going to be included in a lot of her recipes. You will use it up, which is the great thing. You're not going out and buying stuff which you're going to use once in a recipe and then have it left in your cupboard. You'll find you'll get through so much tamari, so much tahini, and you will have never heard of these things, but you'll end up loving them. It's definitely, if you're trying to adapt to a more plant-based diet, then they become staples. These weird, wacky foods you've never heard of. I mean, before I had these cookbooks, I had no idea. I didn't even know you get like almond butter. I thought it was only peanut butter. Now I have almond butter, cashew butter, sesame butter. There's all kinds of nut butters, and I use them on a regular basis. They're not just sat in my cupboard, but you do need to be prepared to go to some natural supermarket or just a big supermarket that's going to stock a few of these less common ingredients. Finally, is there can be the odd failed recipe. Now, I know, but all cookery books aren't always filled with 10 out of 10 recipes for the whole book, but there is sometimes the odd recipe I've tried and I personally have not liked it. But definitely, for instance, I made these brownies before and me and my whole family hated them. It was the coconut oil, the bean. Ugh, I just didn't think it worked. It was very soggy. It wasn't really a brownie. So there might be the odd failed recipe that you need to prepare yourself for, which is so annoying when you make the effort to cook something like that. It is only 1 or 2 recipes per cookbook, and if you keep your eye out, like I said, the ones with a lot of coconut oil in, I don't like because it tastes very coconutty. But again, it could just be a personal preference, and some people might love this brownie recipe. She put in so much work to this cookbook. I don't think she would have purposely put in these failed recipes. I just think it is a matter of personal taste, and not everyone's taste buds are going to be the same. Just keep trying, because some of them, believe me, are incredible. They taste amazing and your friends will love them, and they will become a staple in your diet. And for lunch, I think I'm going to be using this second cookbook. I use this book all of the time. As you can see, there's a lot of dirty pages because I'm a very messy cook. So if I choose a recipe, the book is getting messy. But I've decided on something that I've never cooked before, and that is this olive and sun-dried tomato salad. I'm very excited about this. I'm also very hungry. That's one thing about me, I do get hungry. Anna doesn't like her food. I'm a food person, and I probably will be getting hangry if I don't start cooking soon. So for this recipe, it makes 2 as a main or 4 as a side, although I did find the portions very big, and 250 grams is a lot of quinoa. So whilst this is cooking, you're going to start by making the sauce by just adding the juice of 1 lemon to a jug. Then you're going to add 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar and 3 tablespoons of the oil from the sun-dried tomatoes. Add a little bit of salt and pepper to your flavouring, and then give everything a good old mix with a fork and leave to one side. Then you're just going to roast 40 grams of almonds in the oven for about 10 minutes. Then we're going to start assembling our salad. So you're just going to add 65 grams of chopped black olives, 135 grams of chopped sun-dried tomatoes, 25 grams of chopped parsley, 35 grams of sultanas, which should have been soaking in boiling water for 10 minutes and then drained. And then you're going to add the majority of your toasted almonds, which you should have roughly chopped. And then when the quinoa is all cooled and cooked, you're going to add this to the salad as well, and make sure to give everything a really good mix, and then add your sauce and mix everything together to make the perfect salad, and sprinkle with the last bits of your almonds when you are serving. I decided to have mine with some kale because I have to have a big bed of leafy greens for whatever I'm having for lunch. This was so simple, so flavoursome, and I couldn't recommend this dish more to anybody. Now it's 6 o'clock and it is dinner time, and I'm not actually that hungry because I've had such a big breakfast and lunch. So I'm gonna have this warming winter bowl from her first cookbook. I'm gonna have it with rice or any carbs or anything like that. It's got like tomatoes, lentils, courgettes and some beans in, and I think that will be enough to keep me full, to be honest. I've literally loved eating like Ella for the day. She eats so well, and basically exactly how I love to eat. I'm gonna go and make that, and I shall see you all after dinner to reveal which one of her 3 books is my absolute favourite. So this recipe actually makes 8 servings and is perfect for freezing or leaving in the fridge and having as easy, quick weekday meals. I love batch cooking because it makes such productive use of time, and it means you cook loads of portions all at once. And you're just going to start by cutting up 5 carrots into little circles. Then you're going to add everything to a big pan and add 2 tins of chopped tomatoes, and 5 tablespoons of tomato puree as well, and 5 tablespoons of tamari. Then you're going to add 3 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 3 teaspoons of ground ginger, 3 garlic cloves crushed, and 100 grams of puree lentils all to the pot. Add the juice of 1 lime crushed and 2 cans of cannellini beans which have been drained and rinsed. And then finally you're going to add 3 courgettes cut into moon-sized pieces and add to the pan with 600 millilitres of boiling water, and then let everything simmer for about 40 minutes before taking the lid off and leaving it to simmer for a further 20 minutes. And again, serve with whatever you like. I wasn't particularly hungry, so I didn't need to have it with rice, but this dish is just so hearty and it's so comforting. So what you have all been waiting for, to find out which cookery book is my favourite and which one I would recommend you going out and buying, because if you can't get all 3 and you want to start with one, then where do you start when they all look so good? I could probably do a whole review on each one individually, and if you would like to see that, then let me know and I will make one, but I'm just going to round off which one is my favourite and why. If you had asked me before lockdown, it definitely would have been her original one, the Everyday Deliciously Ella cookbook, and as you can see, I've really used this cookbook to the point where the whole front cover has come off. That is how much I've used this, and I've got through a fair few of these recipes, and honestly it is filled with amazing recipes for weekdays, for weekends, for batch cooking, for singular cooking. I just love the usability of these recipes. The chickpea and squash salad is one of my favourites. I do big batches of the spicy lentil and aubergine pasta. Honestly, there's so many recipes in here that I couldn't be without. However, I don't know if it got boring or whether her recipe books just got better, but I decided to go and get the second one, which is the Deliciously Ella, the plant-based cookbook. Now, this cookbook is honestly insane. Every recipe you cook out of here tastes really, really special, and that is what I love. It has so many amazing ingredients and so such good flavours that any recipe I've tried and shared with friends or family, they've literally adored it. I also love how it is broken up into breakfast salads, falafels and burgers, warming soups, stews and curries, sweets, and then you have extra special ones for gatherings. I would say if you're looking for a recipe just to use for you, if you're younger, like a student or something like that, then I would definitely go for the first everyday one. However, if you're looking for more special, flavoursome recipes, then this cookbook is definitely the one for you. And it just has some really exciting recipes. They're ones that you're going to look at and not know they're even vegan, and that is why I absolutely adore this cookbook, and it is my favourite one. So that is the end of today's video, and I really hope you enjoyed seeing me eat like deliciously Ella for the day. They leave you so full and so satisfied and with so much energy, and I hope if anything I've convinced you all to maybe try a couple more plant-based meals, because it does not have to be boring, and Deliciously Ella is such a strong advocate of that. I think it is so important to nourish your body with healthy, wholesome food. And if you would like to see any more cookbook reviews or eating like anyone for the day, then let me know, and I love making these kind of videos. And I will see you all so soon, everybody. Bye!